Hello, everyone. I am Ben with Pilots React. Today, we're going to be talking about an incident that happened recently in Sint Maarten. I am here with my good friend Todd, and he will introduce this incident.
Hi, everybody. I'm Todd. Rough intro. I've been a pilot for, 25 years. Been a pilot for, a decade or so. So we're going to go through and analyze all this information. If you want to look up our bio, it's in our bio page, so go for that. But we just had a nice little incident happen in Sint Maarten. I've been there many, many times. It's a lovely airport to fly into. A lot of fun. From a pilot's perspective, at least. A lot of fun. Actually, from the people who are hanging on to the fence as well. A lot of fun if you've ever been there. So this accident was WestJet. Let's play the video first. We'll go through that. And here's the video. So you can see them coming in right over the beach. Usually people hang out at that fence. And if you zoom in there, which they do, you'll see the first hit, bam. Huge gear issue. And then they come to a sliding stop.
So you're saying that this was not a normal jetliner landing, Todd?
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. We've all hit hard before in the past. This, in my opinion, from what I see, looks like a mechanical failure. Like the approach, we can look at the approach again. I could try to pause it a bit. The approach looks stable. The airspeed looks stable. The airplane looks stable. However, and even the first bounce, and it's not even a bounce, it's actually the first touchdown on that right main gear, also looks, it looks strong. It's a good impact, but it's definitely not, I'm going to try and pause it. Definitely not right about here. It was a stable approach with a stable touchdown. To me, it doesn't seem like right there. To me, it doesn't seem out of control at all. The flare looks good. The flaps are fully extended. To me, it looks good. Let's take a look at this video from inside for a second, Ben. And then tell me what you think about this. Right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to me, now I'm a small aircraft pilot. I generally fly the Grumman Tiger, which is a 4-seat single engine, no jets, no complex systems. So my first thought on looking at their approach was that their vertical speed was way too high. And it just looked like they held it in a descent attitude and didn't really flare. Now, I've been subjected to some airliner type landings where it felt exactly the same. They get their nose established a little high and they just let it, just slam it right into the runway. No finesse. Don't let those, don't give it that little bit of pull right at the last second just to smooth it, cushion it, use the ground effect to give your passengers a smooth, good experience. A lot of jet pilots seem to think that a really firm, get it down, let them know they're down, they're safe, get the hell out of the plane. So
that's funny.
Well, okay. But so that was my feeling from the first viewing was of that they had excessive vertical speed. They either came in too slow and you couldn't really use that. It didn't get the nose up enough to cushion. But then, as like you pointed out, when you paused it there, that right wing does kind of swing into the ground at the last second, and like you can see
that one right there.
Yeah, right there. So the right wing is a bit high, and is that the spoiler?
Yeah, the flight spoilers, which are controlled. You can see them up here. If you look right in the aft of the video, you can see two of the flight spoilers are, I'll unpause it, are extended, which is going to kill the lift on that wing right at the last second, which means the aileron input was opposite that. So in other words, they were rolling look at this. Watch. Oof. Right there. So the very last second before they touch down, right there, you can see that input didn't help the situation at all. And that could be, for my opinion, for 1,000 reasons. Gusts, airplane control happens. I mean, it's a very split second wind coming in, and you're controlling the wings, making sure they're stable. So I don't contribute that at all to pilot error either. I think that's just normal depending on the situation.
Now, is this a shorter runway so that they are practicing a short runway approach or short field approach?
I'll play devil's advocate here, Ben, with you, because first of all, it's fun. But when I saw the approach, normally and this has been a while since I've been to St. Maarten, but it's a ILS you're coming on. It's a 3-degree glide slope, so your slope is normal. The only difference with St. Maarten is the fence, and it is shorter. I don't know. I haven't been there in a long time, but last time I was there, it was short enough to know, like, I can't remember, 7,000 feet. I think they extended it since then. It's been a while, but it's short enough to know that you don't want to float. You want to plant the airplane down firmly, and that's another reason why pilots generally plant the airplane down. Now, there is a little, as you said, you've been on airlines where the pilots hit hard. There's 121. There's airlines, and there's corporate and private. Generally speaking, in the private side of professional aviation, you really try to finesse it in to be nice. Generally speaking, in the airline side, it's more about the numbers and the safety factors. And not saying that corporate isn't safe, but we generally try to be a little nicer. If you have a longer runway with a larger jet, and in the airlines, you definitely would try too. Here, you don't have that luxury. Here, it's a shorter runway, and you definitely want to plant it. And there's a mountain at the end of this runway too. So on a go around, you have to make a right turn to get out of there. So to me, that looked like a normal 3-degree glide slope. And I think they touched down on 1,000-foot markers, if I'm not mistaken, too. So everything looked pretty good to me.
And the vertical speed did not look excessive?
So can we do this one more time? I'm gonna play that video again, and you take a look. To me, it looks like they're over the fence at the right time. And give me 1 second. To me, it looks like they're over the fence at the right time, and they're coming in well. See, right
just seems
here,
like a very nose low descent profile.
So they're probably pitched up. You're right. It probably is about 4 or 5 degrees, maybe. Yeah, 4 degrees. It doesn't look that bad at all to me.
Not here. What I was saying is here I would expect that same attitude or nose up profile. But then as you cross the fence, I would have expected to see the nose begin to increase and flare. And what I noted was it does look like they do increase the flare literally the second before impact. So if you keep it rolling, take a look and see if you see a nose up. See if they do pitch up right before impact.
Right there. So they
right
did.
There.
Yeah. So
right there.
Look right. And I'll rewind it here again. Right. So they're flaring, and they do increase nose up. So generally speaking, you're coming down with 5 degrees, right? Generally speaking, when you're coming into any airport, you're coming in with a slightly nose up attitude, right? And at the very last part, you're going to just increase a little back pressure on the yoke, on the control wheel. And exactly. We have a funny story about that. And you're going to try to touch down nicely, but you want to touch down firmly because you want your spoilers out. You want your braking action to happen quickly. You want all that because you have a shorter field here. So I didn't see anything at all wrong with that. And I have another report that kind of backs up my theory, at least in this, Ben, from another accident. Let's see. So let me show you this here for a second. So I think 2 years ago, it was Alaska Airlines, and here's the aftermath. That was Alaska Airlines. They came in, and the aftermath is the gear literally right there. The gear went right through the wing. Okay.
Same as the St. Martin incident.
Exactly the same.
Yep.
Other side. And to their credit, I'm going to read the wind right here. The wind was 140 at 14, gusting at 26 knots. So that was a much harder deal. In St. Martin, I've never had gusting 26. Usually maybe you have a mountain there, so it might be a little bit different, but I've never had 26, maybe 20, 22, but not it wasn't that bad of a deal. But as the Alaska pilots, they came in with 14 gusting 26, light rain, 2 statute miles, broken at 1400, overcast at 2200. So that's not kind of a crappy day to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone did the same thing they're doing now, saying, "Oh, the pilots are bad," But in the aftermath, if you guys want to take a screenshot of this report here, my computer's a little slow, so I apologize for that. In the aftermath, they actually reported. You can see right there. You can see the entire freaking gear going right through the wing. So right here, the investigation. That's the final report, and I'll just read a little snippet of it. It says, post-accident examination of the airplane revealed that the MLG, the main landing gear, aft trunnion pin had fractured. And it also says that upon review, the preliminary data indicates that the aircraft touched down at about 23:15 time with a maximum vertical acceleration of 1.71 Gs. The value below the hard landing threshold of 2.2 Gs per Alaska Airlines aircraft maintenance manual. So, in all, joking aside, 1.71 Gs landing, not the smoothest landing, agreed. But given the conditions that night, low visibility, wet runway, and gusting, it's still within tolerances, is what I'm saying.
Oh, it's better than stalling it because you didn't factor in your gusts, and then you're going to exceed that 2G limit, definitely. So did you happen to get the weather for the St. Martin's incident?
I tried. I could not find it. I could not find the exact time, and I looked around. I couldn't locate it. But generally, I mean, I have been there many, many times. I've never. That's wrong. There was one time it was crazy weather. I just remembered. Oh my God, that was years ago. Oh wow. Yeah. That was when we had NDBs into that airport. Yeah.
Non-directional beacons, an ancient navigation aid that is largely relegated to history, but some are still active across.
And we actually had, I remember there was a storm passing over St. Martin. It was a rough approach. I remember that one. Anyway, so no, I wasn't able to get the weather, but the weather from the post-accident views and from everything else seems pretty normal.
So now we're looking at a situation where a similar incident occurred, and it was due to a maintenance issue, a fracture within the trunnion pin, which if that does fracture on landing, that the landing gear is going to let go and punch right through the top of the wing.
Totally.
So in this situation in St. Martin, we have what, in my non-jet pilot eyes, looks like a rather hard landing, but not that much worse than a lot that I've experienced. So it could have been both a hard landing, maybe because of the weather, maybe because of the shorter fields, the desire to get the airplane on the ground, quickly get your braking action set, coupled with a maintenance issue such as a fracture in a trunnion pin in the landing gear, and this is the same type of aircraft, the Boeing 737, there could be an endemic maintenance issue that has not yet been raised and to the point of making an AD, airworthiness directive, which would force all operators to inspect and correct if they found an issue with that pin.
So keep in mind also that I'm not I'm not saying yay or nay on this, but it is a Boeing 737, and also the Alaska Airlines accident was also a Boeing 737, if I'm not mistaken. So it's very possible that it could be the same cause. Is very possible in my opinion. And looking at that's I've had hard landings, and even them right there, you can see their input. They're trying to control the airplane. Maybe they had a gust, but it's still not, it wasn't that violent, you know, and I highly doubt they exceeded any G limit. And I don't remember years ago that I saw this video of when they were testing for Boeings and they had to like flex their wings and do all these things. In essence, the manufacturer maintenance manual limitations for hard landings are usually set, but there's still a huge a huge blanket of safety after that.
Yeah,
you know.
So in my day job, I'm an engineer and I've done a lot of aircraft systems. So generally you have 100% minimum safety margin. And what that means is, so take your 2G maintenance limit on the landing gear. That's the published limit. And that says that you can land every single landing 2Gs, put your passengers' spines out of their, and that you're fine all day long. Sure. The reason why they can say that is because during testing, they've demonstrated that not 2Gs, but 4Gs is actually perfectly acceptable in terms of causing any sort of structural damage or fatiguing damage. So even if you did hit that 2Gs, you should not see the landing gear punch through the wing or the wings break.
Not at all.
The safety factors that go into engineering modern aircraft are so conservative that they can deal with even the most Neanderthal jet pilot, which I've definitely.
Are you referring to me there, buddy?
I don't think so. You've landed smoothly in the past with me, so I think you're one of the good ones.
Sometimes, you know, generally speaking, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we all try to make a smooth landing, you know, but sometimes it doesn't work out. But this doesn't seem like it exceeded any limitations to me at all. So we can't find out for now because NTSB takes a while to do the report, so it's going to take a year or two usually. But my money is on the fact that pilot error did not play a role at all. And also now, you were talking about a high VSI, a high vertical speed. All the airlines have, equipment in the cockpit that you need to abide by. So in other words, if you're exceeding a limitation like a high VSI, close to 1,000 feet to the ground, 500 feet to the ground, you're going to initiate a go around anyway. You're going to get out of there because you can't exceed these limitations, self-imposed limitations on the airline just for safety reasons. So I don't see it happening. You know, I don't see that being a cause at all.
Interesting.
So just my 2 cents.
Yeah. And so that's very interesting because from my first look at the video, I thought, you know, these guys gorillaed that airplane onto that runway, and because of it, they bent the airplane. Now I'm kind of leaning more towards your perspective, which is, you know, they didn't violate anything, and that airplane, well, it failed. Luckily, the failure was entirely benign. Folks got a rough landing, no fire, no injuries. So although there was damage to the aircraft, the systems did work in terms of the failure mechanism of the landing gear is to punch through the wing. It's not to punch through a fuel tank. These are things that have been incorporated into design over 100 years of aviation.
So I also
wanted to pop the slides.
So I wanted to bring this up to the audience's attention here just for a second. I'm going to pause this at the very end. That evacuation looks wonderful. And the reason I'm saying that is because Ben and I soon will be putting out the evacuation of the American Airlines flight that happened a few weeks back. That was nowhere near wonderful. So if you look here, you have flight attendants helping out, people leaving without bags. It was a good evacuation. So, all right. Well, I think that, I guess we won't know, Ben, until a year and a half from now or 2 years from now when the preliminary report comes out. Well,
until then, we have many other incidents we can talk about.
Sounds good. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.